Yeah, I made a recording on the next slide, so yeah, you will see where I picked it up. Thanks. Okay, so taking it further from where we left off previously, I think in the previous video I just made a small mistake here with the gable ends, and I just want to start off with that. So please note that the gable ends that I referred to in your one brick wall is actually not your gable or your beam filling. Sorry, it's not your beam filling that I referred to. It was actually the little allowance here for it's in fact your beam filling that you've got here on your gable ends. So you've got your roof trusses that actually goes through on this side, but then where your truss actually meets the wall, it's just that allowance to actually get to that area. So it's just that little section between the top of the rest of your wall and where your roof truss actually lays onto your roof plate. So the beam filling is actually nicely explained here in on page 3 of the measurements. Okay, so then you will see that the measurement will go through your component external finishes and your component windows, etc. Standard steel windows including lintels, sills, glass, paint, finishes, etc. In the elemental estimation, we usually measure it in number. So whenever you have number here, it's just a number times a specific item here that you might use. So you have the option of actually measuring it in square meters or in number, and we'll get to the guide a little bit later on. So the guideline is actually the way that you're going to measure it, so I'll explain that a little bit later. So but for the example, this is just how everything works. So you've got your component for doors. Here you can see it's actually measured in number. The advantage of having it in square meter here is if you've got different size windows and you don't have quotes for it yet, and then you can use a square meter rate to universal to all of your windows. That's of the same. If it's steel windows, you can use that same rate for that. If it's aluminium windows, you use a different rate. If it's wooden windows, you use a different rate. But it just allows you to have a more accurate estimate of how that works. Okay, so but you still have the option of numbers or so. In this example, it's nice. Numbers would have worked very nicely because you only have one type of window. Okay, so then you've got your doors, you've got your element, your roofs, component construction, wooden trusses that you measure, including wall plates, ties, etc. And here they've measured it in length, and you've got 2, so you can see it's measured in over the length of your roof. The main thing that you need to remember here is to compare apples with apples. If you've got a previous drawing that shows different that you measure differently in your bills, your roof area is usually measured over the angled roof area, whereas many times you might have a roof that's measured over the flat area here. So obviously the one on the slanted angle is more accurate because you can easily compare it with previous projects where the angle of your roof differs. Okay, so just note that in the example it's measured on the slanted area. Okay, then we've got our component coverings, corrugated coverings. You can see it's the same as what you've got here. And then we've got our component insulation material wool. Here you can see they just used the flat area for that, so that's your think pink. or many of your houses or examples might have something else, so you don't necessarily have insulation separate. It will be included in your ceiling boards. For instance, if you've got lambda board or iso board or whatever, that will be the item that you use, so you don't necessarily have to measure insulation. Then component eaves. Your eaves is the side of your roofs. So this is our fascias. Component verges. Verges is like your barge boards. Your verges is on the side of your gable ends to the roofs. Okay, and then you can see component downpipes. Your rainwater goods is measured here, and it continues like that. Your one brick wall superstructure. This is our interior wall, floor components, etc. So for our purposes, you don't really have to follow all these specific rules. I'll get into the guideline just now. So if you just use the guideline to tick off all of your items that you need to measure, then you will do the same that's been done in the example. You can see we've got vinyl tile, floor tiles, skirtings, elemental internal wall finishes, plaster and paint finishes. Here they've measured it together, and they had a deduction on finishes. It seems like, yeah, it's the doors and the windows that was just deducted again. Okay, so I'm just running through this. I think you can go through all of these items by yourself. It's quite self-explanatory, and like I said, where I want to get to is your elemental guideline. Okay, so here's all the measurements. Okay, here's the preliminaries. You can see it's measured as an item. So for your purposes, you're going to use a percentage whenever you calculate your P's and G's. Clearing of the site, removal of trees, etc. Amount for building contract contingencies also allowed here. Just go up before I miss anything. Okay, you will see the electrical installation is measured in square meter. Okay, so again, here you've got the option to measure it per light fitting or per electrical fitting or per square meter. It's just easier to do it per square meter because you can easily convert your existing bills of quantities to a square meter rate for your electrical installation and do it like that. The same with your plumbing. I just want to get to our plumbing. Okay, electrical cable, this is just for the main supply. Hardwood cornices, nailed up ceilings. Okay, we didn't have any bathroom fittings, but I'll get to that later on. Okay, elemental site clearance, just an allowance for that. Your guideline actually will prompt you for this also. Okay, so more or less that's how the measurement works. You will see another thing is your pre-tender escalation. For our purposes, it's not going to be necessary to look at pre-tender escalation. Elemental contract calculations. Okay, all just square meter, and then you will see the VAT component just added to that. Okay, so the following pages, the cost components are built up by pricing the items they consist of. So the elemental estimate was done in 2003. I actually updated it recently. Why I'm kept it 2003 is just the rates basically that applies to that. So you will see now, but the principle stays the same. The quantities and everything I just pulled over into a new nice Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so now you've done all of your measurements, but that's usually the easy section of your estimation, is to get your quantities together. But now you need to put together your rates. So going to your unreinforced strip footings. Okay, so this is item 110 of your guideline. So let me just go to our guideline. I hope I still have it open. That's the bill. Here we go. Okay, so here's our guidelines. So where we left off previously, we just started going through it. You will have nice information here, just a forward, introduction, the purpose of the elemental estimate. It's very nice. Benefits of the elemental estimation, cost analysis, parameters, building projects. We've already gone through all of these items. Okay, then we get to our list of sections. So we're looking at our primary elements first. We've got our substructure, our ground floor, structural frame, external facade, roofs, internal divisions, partitions, floor finishes, internal finishes, ceiling boards, fittings, etc. Electrical installations, plumbing. This is basically our primary items, and thus the name of our primary elements. So the bulk of your costs will actually be in this section. Then the next section is your specialist installation. If you've got like special foundations, sheet piling, driven piles or whatever, fire installations, conveyance systems, air conditioning, ventilation, heating, cooling, special electrical systems, electrical subsystems, etc. Your ICT installations, your access control, all of those items will be here. Signage, artwork, and then you have the next section, which is your equipment, commercial, security, vault, teller, services, recognition, office furniture, industrial, your escalation, your ecclesiastical something which I don't know what it is, and then you've got library, theater, stage, any items that hasn't been covered, like your audio visual, detention, research, medical installations, vehicular services, parking, loading docks, etc. Any special installations, most of these items won't be applicable. Then you've got tenant installations, like for instance, if a tenant has to install a fiber installation or anything like that, which falls outside of any other installations. Then we've got alterations. If you've got an existing building, I don't think anyone has like alterations where you have to refurbish a new building, but it's measured underneath your alterations. Then you get your external works, and you can see there's quite a lot of external works like pools, minor construction works, etc., garden works. Okay, and then you get to your preliminaries, your contingency allowance, your escalation, your tax, etc. For your purposes, you can allow escalation if you know that you're doing the estimate now and it will take about a year before the construction actually starts, or 3 months until the construction actually starts. So you can use your discretion with regard to this, but in most of your cases I don't think escalation will be a thing that you need to worry about. Okay, so your general allowances, you can read through this. Here's some nice items that you can look at. Risk contingency allowances, price and detailed development of contingencies, construction contingencies, escalations, some explanations on how that works. Okay, then we've got our definitions. This just the symbols and the different units that you might use on during your measurement. Commonly used functional units. Just a nice explanation is parking facilities, It's like an extra addition, and square meter. Just this is not too important, so don't confuse yourself with all of these items here. So this is actually for each apartments, etc. So if you need to on the summary page, you will see how this is broken down. Okay, so components, just the definitions. Then you've got costs, cost per functional unit, etc. Okay, so I'm just going to skip all of these explanations and get to our actual guidelines. So the schedule of components. So when you do your building, what you will have is you will have this on the one side, and you will have your drawing on the other side, and you will have your Excel spreadsheet on another side. So what you will do is you will go through your primary elements, and you will go through each of these items and tick it off one by one. So what you will do, let me just open our little Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so here's our example. So this is our summary. We've got our elemental summary, and we've got our estimate. So this is our components that we've got here that we're measuring. This is where you will start, and you will link it with your summary, and then your elemental summary, and then your final summary. Okay, and then you will see I've got a rate build up here. So here you will use your previous or your bills of quantities and make the necessary breakdowns to actually get to your estimations. Okay, so just to get back to the example, I'm just going to skip the rate buildup for now. I'll do the rate buildup in a separate video. Okay, so you'll see all of these nice little ways of calculating your rate buildups. Just scrolling down some more. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do is just to set up your spreadsheet, and what I've done already is I've set up the spreadsheet for you already. So you will see all the different sections listed in this column. You will see it's got its code 100, and so our primary element is our first one is our substructure, and it has a code 100.10, so unreinforced strip footings. So if we look at our strip footings, we've got a strip footing of 800 by 300 by okay, let me just write this in as well. Okay, by 1.3 meters deep. Okay, and it's measured in meters. Where did I get that? I got that from our guidelines. So construction lowest area, floor having foundations. Okay, so we this item is not applicable. Our first item will be our item 100.10, unreinforced strip footings. This is just like the overview of everything that we've got here. So you will see everything adds up together. I don't know why this is 936, but in your case it will be our total floor area. Let me just go to our measurements. Sorry about that, just had to take that call quickly. Okay, so where we were at our measurements. So construction of lowest floor. Okay, so our length of our plan, so we've measured our length of our plan, but in your total floor area, this is just your total floor area that you add into this section. You will see an example as well. So this is, if you go to your drawing, just the 5.44 times your 10.66. So it's our 5.44 times 10.66. Okay, and then we just round it off to 58 square meters. Okay, you will see I'm not too strict on whether this is 59 square meters or 58 or 57. This is just within the range of your measurement. You will see the example, I think, has it a little bit different than I have. If we just scroll down to our summary and get to our first components. Okay, so this is just the examples. Okay, yeah, they've also measured 58, so it's just a 58 that we're going to use there. So just to end off this section of the video, I'm going to just go through the examples whenever you set up your elemental estimate. Okay, so now I've gone too far. Just go down a little. Okay, so here's your total example of layout of your elements. So this is what we're currently going through. So it just gives you an example, and they've used external facade. So this is how your brick and block work will look. Here's the description of the item. Here's your measurement. You will see it's measured in square meters as per your guideline, and then your cost rate for that, and you times that together to get that item. So, and then you've got your finishes, curtain walls, windows, doors, and all of that is then added up to your total area here. Okay, so this is just the example from the elemental guideline. Okay, just going down further. Okay, here we go. Example B, example of your elemental estimate summary, just to give you. Okay, so we're working backwards in the example. So this is your component level. Your elemental summary is here. So this is how that layout looks. Primary items, etc. And then you've got your here's your total summary of all of your elements given. Okay, so that is that. So you've got your examples like that, but in the template you will see how everything is set out. Okay, so until the next video, see you then.